The galaxy had many stories, but none were whispered as carefully as the stories about humans. Some species spoke of them with deep respect, while others mentioned their name with fear in their voices. For the rest of the universe, humans were something unpredictable, something powerful, something that could change any war. And this story begins with a young alien officer named Arian Koro. Arian belonged to the Lishan race, a peaceful species known for soft voices, calm nature, and excellent strategy. Lishans were thinkers, planners, and diplomats. They did not like violence, but they understood the need for defense. Arian had trained for years to finally earn his place in the Interspecies Defense Alliance. But today, Arian was not calm. His hand shook slightly as he sat inside the transport shuttle, moving through the cold black space. His commander had given him shocking news only 1 hour earlier. You have been selected to join the Human Special Combat Unit on the battleship Resolute Dawn. Serve well, serve carefully. Arian did not understand that last part. Serve carefully. Why carefully? Why not proudly? Why not bravely? But then he remembered the old warnings. Serving with humans is a great honor, but also a great danger. Humans bring victory, but victory never comes peacefully. If you stand with them, you must be ready to face what they face. Arian's voice trembled when he whispered to himself, "Why? Why me?" The shuttle doors opened with a soft hiss. Bright, white lights fell over the landing bay of the human battleship. The Resolute Dawn was larger than anything Arian had ever seen. Metal walls thicker than Lishan bunkers, walkways guarded by large human soldiers, and machines humming with power. Arian stepped forward. His boots clicked against the metal floor. He felt eyes watching him. Human eyes. Every human that looked at him had the same intense expression. Focused, alert, as if they were always ready for a fight. Arian had heard that humans had something called a fight or flight instinct. But the thing that scared the galaxy was that humans almost always chose fight. He cleared his throat. Officer Arian Koro, reporting for duty. No one said anything. No one moved closer. The silence felt heavy, almost too heavy. Then footsteps echoed across the landing bay. Slow, firm, powerful footsteps. The kind that made even trained soldiers stand straight. Arian turned. A tall woman approached, wearing dark armor with glowing blue lines. Her hair was pulled back tightly, and her eyes felt like they could see right through him. This was Human Commander Mara Vance, the leader of the Special Combat Unit. Her presence alone felt like a storm slowly walking toward him. Arian lowered his head respectfully. "Commander," she studied him quietly. Then she spoke. "Welcome to the Resolute Dawn. We do not waste time here. If you are with us, you fight with us. And if you fight with us," she paused, "you must be ready for anything." Her voice was calm, but her words carried a warning Arian could feel in his bones. Before Arian could respond, an alarm suddenly exploded through the ship. Beep, 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 red alert. Enemy vessels approaching. Red lights flashed everywhere. Sirens echoed. Human soldiers moved instantly, running to their stations without confusion or panic. Arian could feel the shift in the air. The humans were no longer calm. They were ready. Commander Mara pressed a button on her wrist. "All units prepare for combat. The ZYNTH Dominion is coming." Arian froze. The ZYNTH Dominion. They were one of the most feared species in the galaxy. A brutal enemy that crushed entire planets without mercy. "That is impossible," Arian whispered. "The ZYNTH are far from this sector." Mara looked at him. "Not anymore." The ship shook violently. A deep rumble rolled through the metal floor. Dust fell from the ceiling edges. "We are under attack," a human officer shouted. Arian felt his heart racing. His legs wanted to run, but he forced himself to stay. This was his first assignment. He could not show fear. Commander Mara looked at him again. Her voice was firm. "You are with humanity now, and humanity never runs." Arian swallowed hard. He followed her down the corridor. Human soldiers rushed past him, loading weapons, checking armor, shouting quick orders. The hallway vibrated again as enemy fire struck the ship's shields. Arian's body shook each time the metal groaned. "Why are the ZYNTH attacking us so soon?" he asked. Mara answered without looking back. Because they fear us. They fear what humans can become in war. Her calm tone sent a chill through Arian's spine. As they reached the command deck, the main screen displayed a horrifying sight. Dozens of enemy ships, glowing with red energy, surrounding the Resolute Dawn like a pack of predators surrounding wounded prey. Arian's voice cracked. We cannot win this. Commander Mara finally turned toward him. Her eyes were sharp, confident, unbroken. Maybe not, she said, but we will not lose. Her words felt like steel. Not loud, not emotional, just certain. Arian saw human soldiers standing behind her, ready to fight with the same certainty. Their determination felt stronger than any weapon. For the first time, Arian understood something important. Humans were not feared because of their strength. Humans were feared because they refused to break. No matter the enemy, no matter the odds. Suddenly the ship shook again, harder this time. Sparks flew from the ceiling. Commander Mara raised her hand. Prepare for counterattack. The deck went silent. Arian knew then this was only the beginning, and he had no idea whether he would survive it. But one thing was clear in his heart. Fighting for humanity was a privilege, and a terrifying one. The first explosion hit the Resolute Dawn like a giant fist. The entire battleship shook. Metal screamed. Warning lights flashed across the command deck. Arian Coral lost his balance and slammed into a wall. His breath knocked from his chest. Before he could panic, a human soldier grabbed his arm and pulled him back to his feet. Stay upright, the soldier said calmly. This is just the beginning. Just the beginning? Arian thought in horror. On the main screen, the ZYNTH Dominion fleet moved closer. Their ships were sharp and dark, shaped like blades cutting through space. Red energy glowed from their weapons, charging for another strike. Enemy cannons charging, a human officer shouted. Commander Mara Vance stood in the center of the deck, her posture steady. She did not raise her voice. She did not rush. She simply gave orders. Redirect shield power to the forward arc launch interceptors. Hold formation. Her calm spread through the room like invisible armor. Arian watched in disbelief as human pilots launched from the hangars, flying straight into enemy fire. Their ships moved with perfect coordination, covering each other without hesitation. Why don't they retreat? Arian asked quietly, his voice shaking. A human technician beside him replied, because retreat gives the enemy hope. Another explosion struck the shields. The screen flashed as the shield strength dropped. Shields at 70%, the officer reported. Arian's heart pounded. 70% already? The battle had barely begun. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the ship. The floor trembled again, this time from inside. Boarding impact, someone yelled. ZYNTH forces have breached Hangar 3. Arian froze. Boarding combat meant close fighting. No shields. No distance. Just soldiers facing each other. Commander Mara turned instantly. Alpha squad with me. Defense teams protect the civilians. She looked at Arian. You're coming too. Arian's eyes widened. Me? You wanted to fight alongside humanity, she said. This is what that means. They ran to the corridors, the sound of distant gunfire growing louder with every step. The walls were scorched. Smoke filled the air. Arian could smell burning metal. When they reached Hangar 3, the doors were half destroyed. Inside, chaos ruled. ZYNTH warriors poured in like a dark flood. They were tall, armored, and moved with brutal strength. Their weapons fired heavy plasma bolts that melted metal on impact. Arian's legs felt weak. Then the humans charged. They did not hide. They did not hesitate. Human soldiers moved forward in tight formation, firing with deadly accuracy. When one fell, another stepped in without slowing down. Their faces showed no fear, only focus. Arian raised his weapon, hands trembling. A ZYNTH warrior rushed toward him, roaring. Arian fired wildly, missing every shot. Before the ZYNTH could reach him, a human soldier tackled it from the side, slamming it into the ground. The human stood up, armor cracked, blood on his face, but still standing. "Stay behind us," the human shouted. "Watch and learn." Arian pressed himself against a crate, breathing hard. He watched humans fight up close. They adapted instantly. When weapons failed, they used fists. When armor broke, they kept moving. One human lost an arm to a plasma blade and still managed to pull a ZYNTH enemy down with his remaining strength. Arian felt sick, amazed, terrified. "This makes no sense," he whispered. "No species can endure this." Commander Mara fought at the front. She moved like a machine, but with purpose. Every shot counted. Every movement protected someone else. "ZYNTH are pulling back," a soldier shouted. The enemy began retreating toward their breach point. Arian thought it was over. He was wrong. A massive ZYNTH war leader stepped forward, larger than the others, covered in thick armor. His weapon hummed with deadly power. The hangar went quiet. The ZYNTH leader spoke in a deep, echoing voice, translated instantly by the ship systems. "Humans," it said, "you should not exist. You break every rule of war." Commander Mara stepped forward alone. "We didn't make the rules," she replied. "We survived them." The ZYNTH leader charged. The clash was violent and fast. The ZYNTH struck with crushing blows, sending Mara flying across the hangar. Arian gasped before fear could take him. Humans rushed forward, shielding their commander with their bodies. Mara stood up again, blood running from her forehead. She smiled. "Is that all?" she asked. The ZYNTH hesitated. That moment of hesitation cost him everything. Human soldiers overwhelmed the ZYNTH leader, forcing it back through the breach. Explosions sealed the hangar doors shut. Silence followed. The battle was not over. But this part was. Arian collapsed to his knees, shaking. A human medic knelt beside him. "First battle?" Arian nodded slowly. The medic smiled tiredly. "You survived. That means you're learning." Arian looked around. The hangar was destroyed. Humans were wounded everywhere. Yet they were helping each other, repairing defenses, preparing for the next attack. No celebration. No relief. Only readiness. Commander Mara walked past Arian. She paused. "You held your ground," she said. "That matters." Arian finally found his voice. "Why? Why do they fear humans so much?" Mara looked back toward the sealed hangar doors. "Because when humans are pushed," she said quietly, "we don't ask how bad the fight will be. We ask how long we can hold the line." The ship shook again as the enemy fleet regrouped outside. The war was far from over. And Arian understood one truth now. The universe did not fear humanity because they loved war. It feared them because humans refused to lose, no matter the cost. The silence after the hangar battle felt unnatural. Arian Koro sat against a cold metal wall, his chest rising and falling too fast. The sounds of distant explosions echoed through the ship, reminding him that the war was still alive outside. Human engineers moved past him, repairing damage as if chaos was normal. No one complained. No one slowed down. Arian watched them with wide eyes. They were wounded. They were tired. Yet they were still moving forward. A human soldier nearby wrapped a bandage around his bleeding arm. Another soldier helped him tighten it. No words were exchanged. They simply nodded and returned to their stations. "Why don't they stop?" Arian whispered. A human voice answered him. "Because stopping gets people killed." Arian looked up and saw Lieutenant Hale, a human officer with tired eyes and a cracked helmet. Hale leaned against the wall beside him. "You did better than most first-timers," Hale said. Arian swallowed. "I froze. I almost died." Hale nodded. "That's normal. Fear means you understand what's at stake." "Then why don't humans fear anything?" Arian asked. Hale looked at him carefully. "We do. We just don't let it decide for us." Before Arian could respond, the ship shook again, harder than before. Lights flickered. A loud alarm rang through corridors. Warning: shield failure in multiple sectors. The bridge lights turned red. Hale pushed himself up. "That's our cue." They moved toward the command deck together. Along the way, Arian noticed something strange. Humans were speaking calmly, even as damage reports filled the air. Power rerouted. Casualties stabilized. We can still fight. Arian had served on many Alliance ships before. Panic was always the first response. But here, on a human ship, panic had no place. On the command deck, Commander Marvan stood over the main display. The ZYNTH fleet was closer now. Much closer. They are surrounding us, an officer said. They are trying to trap us. Mara nodded. They always do. Arian stepped forward. Commander, may I ask something? Mara glanced at him. Ask. Why does the ZYNTH Dominion hate humans so much? They attack without warning, without logic. The room fell quiet. Mara looked at the screen for a long moment before answering. Because humans remind them of something, she said slowly. Something they fear. And what is that? Arian asked. Limits, she replied. Arian did not understand. Mara turned to face the crew. All units, prepare for sustained combat. This fight will not end quickly. The ZYNTH launched another wave of attacks. Energy blasts slammed into the ship. Shields flickered, then failed completely. We've lost shields, someone shouted. The ship took direct hits. Explosions tore through outer sections. Arian felt the floor tilt beneath his feet. Why are we still here? He cried. Any other fleet would retreat. Mara's voice was sharp. Any other fleet would already be dead. Suddenly, emergency lights activated in one corner of the deck. A holographic display showed a live feed from the lower levels. ZYNTH warriors had breached again. But this time, something was different. The humans were not defending. They were advancing. Arian watched his human squads move straight into the enemy-controlled corridors. No cover. No hesitation. They're pushing forward? Arian gasped. Hale nodded. That's the mistake our enemies always make. They think humans fight to survive. A human soldier on the screen was hit by plasma fire. He stumbled, got back up, and charged. We fight to end the threat, Hale continued. Arian felt cold. One of the ZYNTH warriors screamed something in its own language. The translator activated automatically. The humans will not stop. The ZYNTH began retreating, but humans followed them. They're hunting them, Arian whispered. Mara folded her arms. No, she said. We're making sure they don't come back. The feed cut out as explosions destroyed the corridor. Arian felt his legs weaken. How can humans keep going like this? He asked. You're wounded, outnumbered, trapped. Mara finally looked tired. Because once, she said quietly, we didn't. She turned toward him. Human history is full of times we ran, times we surrendered, times we hoped someone else would save us. The ship shook again. We learned the cost of that hope, she continued. Now, when we stand all the way. Arian remembered something his teachers once said, that humans evolved on a violent world, that they survived natural disasters, predators, and endless wars. But this was more than evolution. This was a choice. A new alert appeared. ZYNTH command signal detected. They're calling reinforcements, an officer said. Arian's heart dropped. We cannot face more ships. Mara smiled, not happily but confidently. Good, she said. That means they're afraid. Arian stared at her. Afraid of what? Mara leaned closer, her voice low. Afraid that if they don't stop us now, there won't be anything left that can... Another explosion rocked the ship. Arian understood then. The universe did not fear humanity because humans were cruel. It feared them because humans had learned something terrible. That survival is not enough. That sometimes you must become unstoppable. And as the ZYNTH fleet closed in once more, Arian realized he was standing beside the most dangerous allies in the galaxy. Not because they loved destruction, but because they refused to let evil survive them. The Resolute Dawn was bleeding. Fire burned along its outer hull. Entire sections were sealed off to stop the spread of smoke and vacuum. Power flickered between systems as engineers struggled to keep the ship alive. Outside, the stars were hidden behind enemy ships. Arian Koro stood on the command deck, gripping the railing so hard his hands hurt. "This ship cannot take much more," an officer said. "Hull integrity is falling fast." Arian expected panic. He expected shouting. He expected fear. None of that came. Commander Mara Vance studied the battlefield with cold focus. Her armor was damaged. Her face was marked with blood and ash. Yet her posture remained firm, like she was part of the ship itself. "How long?" she asked. 10 minutes, the officer replied. "Maybe less." Mara nodded. "That's enough." Arian turned sharply. "Enough for what?" She looked at him, her eyes sharp and honest. "Enough to hold." The ZYNTH fleet moved closer, tightening their formation. Their ships glowed with charged weapons, preparing for a massive strike meant to end everything at once. "They are preparing a final assault," another officer warned. Arian's heart raced. "Then we should retreat. Call for help. Anything." Mara shook her head. "There is no retreat. Behind us are evacuation routes, civilian convoys, medical ships." She paused. "If we move, they die." The truth hit Arian like a blade. The Resolute Dawn was not just fighting for survival. It was standing between the enemy and countless innocent lives. Mara activated the ship-wide channel. "All hands," she said calmly. "This is Commander Vance." The noise of battle seemed to fade as her voice carried through every corridor. "The enemy believes we are weak. They believe we are trapped. They believe fear will make us fall." She took a breath. Prove them wrong. Across the ship, humans stopped what they were doing, not to rest, but to listen. "You know your positions," she continued. "You know what's at stake. We hold this line, not because we are ordered to, but because no one else can." The channel closed. Arian felt something strange tighten in his chest. The ZYNTH attack began. Energy blasts struck the ship nonstop. The Resolute Dawn shook violently, alarms screaming from every system. Deck plates cracked. Lights failed completely in some areas. We're losing weapons. Multiple breaches. Casualties rising. Arian braced himself, waiting for the breaking point. But the humans did not break. Damage teams moved through fire to seal breaches. Soldiers held corridors against overwhelming numbers. Pilots launched in damage fighters, knowing they would not return. Arian watched a live feed from one corridor. A group of humans stood shoulder to shoulder in a narrow hallway. Their armor was torn, their ammo nearly gone. A ZYNTH assault wave charged. The humans did not step back. They stepped forward. The feed cut out. Arian turned away, his vision blurring. "How can they do this?" he whispered. "Why don't they give up?" Lieutenant Hale stood beside him again, breathing heavily. "Because this is a line," Hale said, "and humans don't let lines fall." Suddenly, a new alert appeared. "Core overload risk detected." The room went silent. "If the core fails," an officer said carefully, "the ship will be destroyed." Arian's breath caught. "Then we must abandon ship." Mara did not respond right away. Instead, she opened a secure channel, one that only humans could hear. Arian could not hear the words, but he saw the effect. Human soldiers froze. Then, one by one, they straightened. Some closed their eyes. Some smiled. Some whispered quiet goodbyes. "What did you tell them?" Arian asked, fear filling his voice. Mara looked at him. Her expression was not cruel, not proud. It was honest. "I told them," she said softly, "that we may not all survive." Arian stared at her. "And they accepted that?" She nodded. "They always do." The ZYNTH fleet launched their final push. Massive warships moved into firing position, preparing to tear the Resolute Dawn apart. Arian felt powerless. Then something unexpected happened. Human ships, small, damaged, barely flying, moved forward from behind the battleship. "What are they doing?" Arian shouted. "They're blocking the fire," an officer whispered. The human pilots formed a living shield. Enemy fire tore through them. One by one, they vanished from the screen. Arian felt something break inside him. "That's madness," he whispered. "No," Mara said. "That's choice." With the enemy fire delayed, Mara turned to the bridge crew. Now, she said, a hidden system activated. The Resolute Dawn released a powerful energy pulse. Not a weapon, but a signal. Across space, Allied fleets received it. A call for aid. A call bought with blood. Minutes passed like hours. The ZYNTH began to pull back, confused. Their sensors detected incoming fleets. Then the stars filled with light. Reinforcements arrived. The ZYNTH formation broke. Cheers erupted across the command deck. But Mara did not celebrate. She looked at the damage reports, at the lost pilots, at the empty stations. Arian stepped beside her. "You saved them," he said. "All of them." Mara shook her head slowly. "We held the line," she replied. "That's all." Arian understood now. The universe feared humanity not because they destroyed worlds. It feared them because when everything was lost, when escape was impossible, when hope was gone, humans chose to stand anyway. And that choice changed the fate of everyone behind them. The battlefield slowly grew quiet. Wreckage drifted through space like broken stars. Fires burned across the hull of the Resolute Dawn, but the ship was still alive. Emergency crews moved through damaged corridors, pulling survivors from smoke and twisted metal. Arian Koro stood near a viewport, staring at the remains of the ZYNTH fleet. Many of their ships were destroyed. Others fled into the darkness, leaving their fallen behind. They had lost. For the first time since the battle began, Arian felt his body relax. His legs shook as the weight of survival finally reached him. "We're alive," he whispered. Lieutenant Hale stood beside him, his armor cracked and stained. "Yeah," he said quietly. "We are." Arian turned to him. "But at what cost?" Hale did not answer. Across the command deck, Commander Mara Vance reviewed casualty reports. Her face showed no joy, only responsibility. Every name mattered. Every loss was carried silently. All Allied fleets have arrived, an office reported. The ZYNTH are retreating across all fronts. Mara nodded. "Hold position. Do not pursue." Arian looked at her, surprised. "Why not end it now?" "Because," Mara said, "fear is already doing that job." Arian did not understand at first. Then he saw it. ZYNTH ships were not retreating in formation. They were running, breaking ranks, abandoning damaged vessels, ignoring fallen comrades. "They're afraid," Arian said softly. "They learned," Mara replied. Later, Arian was assigned to help escort wounded soldiers to the medical bay. As he moved through the ship, he saw the truth of the battle. Humans lying injured but still giving orders. Pilots missing limbs, still asking if their squadron survived. Engineers burned and exhausted, still repairing power lines. None of them asked for praise. None of them asked why. In the medical bay, Arian helped stabilize a human soldier with heavy injuries. The soldier's breathing was shallow, his eyes barely open. "Did we hold?" the soldier asked weakly. "Yes," Arian said quickly. "You did." The soldier smiled faintly. "Good." That was all. Arian stepped away, his chest tight. They don't fight to be remembered, he realized. They fight so others don't have to. Hours later, representatives from allied species arrived aboard the Resolute Dawn. They moved carefully, their faces pale as they walked through the damaged ship. Many of them had once questioned humanity. Some had feared them. Some had secretly planned how to control them. Now none of them spoke. They stood before Commander Mara Vance in silence. A tall delegate from the Virile Union stepped forward. "Commander, the galaxy owes humanity a debt." Mara shook her head. "We didn't do this for debt." "Then why?" another asked. Mara looked around the room, at her crew, at the wounded, at the scars on the walls. "Because when someone stands behind us," she said, "we don't let them fall." The delegates exchanged uneasy glances. Arian stepped forward, surprising himself. "I fought beside humans," he said. "I saw what they do when hope is gone." The room turned toward him. "They do not fight for conquest," Arian continued. "They fight because giving up would mean letting others die." One of the delegates asked quietly, "And is that why the universe fears them?" Arian met their gaze. Yes, because humans do not know how to surrender their responsibility. Silence filled the room. Later, as the Allied fleets regrouped, Arian walked alone through a quiet corridor. The walls were marked with scorched burns. Names were written on the floor in chalk. Fallen crew members honored in silence. Commander Mara joined him. "You spoke well," she said. Arian lowered his head. "I only spoke the truth." She studied him. "Not many understand it." Arian hesitated. "Commander, would you do it again?" Mara did not answer right away. "Yes," she said finally. "Every time." They stopped at a viewport. The stars shone calmly now, as if nothing had happened. "The galaxy will talk about this battle," Arian said. "They will tell stories." "They always do," Mara replied. "And what will they say about humans?" Arian asked. Mara smiled faintly. "They'll say we're dangerous." Arian nodded. "They won't be wrong." She looked at him, curious. "Because humans don't fear sacrifice," Arian continued. "They fear failing those who trust them." Mara said nothing, but her eyes showed agreement. As Arian returned to his quarters, he realized something had changed inside him. He was no longer afraid of humanity. He was proud to stand beside them. And across the galaxy, the message spread faster than any fleet. Humanity does not seek war, but when war comes, they become the line that never breaks. The universe listened, and it remembered. The war was over, but its echo remained. The Resolute Dawn drifted slowly through open space, surrounded by Allied fleets. Repair ships moved around it like careful doctors around a wounded giant. Lights from distant stars reflected off burned metal and patched armor. Arian Koro stood alone in the observation chamber, watching the galaxy move quietly again. It felt strange. After so much noise, fire, and fear, silence fell heavy. "You survived," he whispered to his reflection in the glass. Not everyone had. Behind him, footsteps approached. Arian turned and saw Commander Mara Vance. She no longer wore battle armor, just a simple uniform. Without the armor, she looked more tired, more human. "The Council wants to speak with you," she said. Arian's eyes widened. "Me?" Mara nodded. "They want a witness. Someone who fought beside us, but isn't human." Arian followed her to the main chamber. Representatives from many species were already there. Some looked curious. Others looked afraid. A council elder spoke first. "Arian Koro Volition," the elder said, "you were present during the defense of the evacuation routes." "Yes," Arian replied. "You saw humanity at war," another delegate said. "Tell us why the ZYNTH fled." The room was silent. Arian took a breath. "They fled," he said slowly, "because they realized something too late." "And what was that?" the elder asked. "That humans cannot be frightened away," Arian replied. "Only killed. And even then they keep fighting." A murmur spread across the chamber. Arian continued, his voice steady now. "The ZYNTH believed humans fought for power, for territory, for pride. They were wrong." He looked at Commander Mara. "Humans fight for people standing behind them. And once humans decide to protect something, nothing can force them to stop." The council fell quiet. One delegate asked carefully, "Is that why the universe fears humanity?" Arian nodded. "Yes, because when humans call something their responsibility, they do not abandon it, not even at the cost of their own lives." The meeting ended soon after. No arguments, no demands, only understanding. Later that day, a memorial was held inside the ship. Names filled the walls, human names, hundreds of them. Arian stood among the crew as a soft light passed over each name. No music played, no speeches were given. Humans stood silently. Arian noticed something strange. There were no tears, only respect. After the ceremony, Arian found Commander Mara near the hangar bay. The massive doors were open, revealing the endless stars. "I never thanked you," Arian said. Mara looked at him. "For what?" "For letting me fight beside you," he replied. She studied him. "You earned that." Arian hesitated. "The galaxy will fear humans even more now." Mara nodded. Probably. Does that bother you? Arian asked. She thought for a moment. No, she said. Fear keeps enemies honest. Arian smiled slightly. And allies? Mara looked at him. Allies, she said. Learn who will never abandon them. Arian felt a weight lift from his chest. Before he left, Mara handed him a small emblem, a simple symbol worn by human soldiers. What is this? He asked. A mark, she replied. It means you stood the line with us. Arian's hand shook as he took it. I'm not human, he said. You don't have to be, Mara answered. You fought like one. Days later, Arian returned to Lishan space. When his ship arrived, officials gathered to hear his report. News of the battle had already spread. The ZYNTH Dominion had withdrawn from 3 systems without a fight. They fear humans now, one official said. Arian shook his head. They always did. Then what changed? Another asked. They learned why, Arian replied. He told them everything. About humans holding the line. About ships becoming shields. About soldiers choosing to stand so others could escape. When he finished, the room was silent. Finally, a Lishan elder spoke. To fight for humanity, the elder said slowly, is a great risk. Yes, Arian agreed. And a great honor, the elder continued. Arian smiled. The greatest I've ever known. Years passed. The galaxy changed. Wars still happened, but fewer. When humans arrived, enemies thought twice. When humans offered alliance, worlds felt safer. And everywhere, a saying spread, to fight alongside humanity is a privilege. To fight against them is a warning. Arian kept the emblem with him always. Sometimes he looked up at the stars and remembered the fire, the fear, and the line that never broke. And every time he felt the same truth in his heart. The universe fears humanity not because they love war, but because when they stand for something, they stand until the end. And Arian Koro would forever be proud to have stood with them,